Hi everybody, Dave here for Game Trade Media. We're here at the Alliance Open House, and today we're going to be talking with Rainer from NSKN Games. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. So you brought in dice settlers.
Yes.
For us to take a look at today. What's Dice Settlers all about?
So this is one of two of our big releases for the year, and Dice Settlers is it was designed by David Turchi, who also did games like Anachrony,
right?
And it features the artwork of Mihailo Dmitrievsky, the Miko, and he's done a lot of artwork that people recognize. This is
it's got an awesome style to it.
Yeah, it does. And this is it's a game that it's basically a dice-driven 4X game. And for people, if you're not familiar with the 4X style of games, it's basically a game where you often some kind of civilization building game, right?
Yep.
Where you have a very simple beginning, and then through the actions that you take during the game, you will improve, be able to expand your territory, be able to collect resources, and basically try to do better than your opponents.
Right, okay.
And in this game, it has a setup. So at the beginning of the game, there would be several tiles that are placed out on the board. And this basically would represent the start of our civilization. Maybe this is the tile where I'm beginning the game.
Right.
Each player will start with a couple of dice. And all of these dice, they feature very nice printing work on them.
Right.
And basically on your turn, it's essentially a pool building game. So you draw a number of dice based on this. So you might start with, for example, 3 at the beginning of the game. You draw 3 out of your bag, and then you roll them. And now based on your die roll, you can take different actions.
Okay.
And the game, of course, when you have dice, you want a way to be able to manipulate that and mitigate anything. So there are multiple ways of using icons, using resources that you collect and so forth, to make sure that you can get the most out of your actions.
Yeah.
The actions that you can take then will be things like expanding in your territory. You can use this icon, for example, to expand onto a neighboring territory.
Okay.
You can use other icons to explore and be able to draw new tiles. There will be a pool of tiles, and you can get to then draw tiles from here and choose one to add, which is how then the board expands.
Right.
Now, some of these, you will see that they are, there will be, as you're fighting for control over these with your opponents, there will be different victory points. This particular one, for example, if you have the majority on it, you get 4 victory points.
Okay.
Second place gets nothing. Whereas this other tile would then give 5 points for majority and 2 points for being second. So you want to compete with your opponents for control over these areas, to be able to utilize the different types of lands, the different resources that they provide, and so forth to score victory points during the game. Now, it comes with 51 custom dice, and each of the different types, they correspond to a land type. So, for example, the orange die is associated with the orange tiles. The green one with the greens, and so forth. And basically, they provide you with different types of actions, different resources that are easier to find there. And each player, they get a player aid that very clearly explains the different icons that are available, the different actions, and how they all work
So
work
let's
together.
see here on the white dice, we've got 3 of the hats, 2 of the pocket, the compasses, and 1 fire.
Yep.
Okay, radio. And there's basically to be able to roll green dice, do you need to own a green
Correct.
tile?
So at the beginning of the game, you're going to start with 3 white and a yellow and a green.
Okay.
But then later in the game, if I want to take this action here, which is it's the higher icon.
Okay.
The dice that I can choose from will be dependent. So in this case, if I'm the blue player, I'm only on green or yellow. So I can only hire more green or yellow dice. Whereas if I have expanded maybe into a gray territory, now the gray dice would be available for me.
Okay.
And they feature different icons on them.
Okay.
And so this is a game that even though there's certainly some conflict involved with fighting for control over these territories. There will be ways for you to basically take complete control over territories that no one else can beat you by being able to place the houses on there.
Okay.
But it's done in a very palatable and still a relatively friendly way. So it's not going to be a high conflict game where there's going to leave people upset afterwards. But it's something where you basically you take your turn, you draw you draw the dice, roll them, and perform different actions.
Okay, great. And I like the idea of having the, as you mentioned, the mitigation in there, so that
Right.
we all know rolling the dice can be terrible sometimes.
Yeah.
But,
No, and there are multiple ways and multiple icons that can. So, for example, so these hats, they can be either used as just a wild icon to represent anything that you would like,
okay.
or they can be used to reroll dice that are on the table. So you have
Right, okay.
options even with each of them. Same thing with the different resources. You can choose to either collect resources, or I can use this die instead of saving it to collect resources. I can use that to now set a die to any value I want or to reroll.
Right,
So you
okay.
have multiple
A lot of
ways
flexibility in
yeah.
there as well. Okay.
And there also the game comes with a whole stack of cards here
Right.
that represent different technologies that you can acquire during the game.
Right, okay.
Each game you'll be using just 9 of these, so you can
Oh,
imagine
right,
what a difference there can be in setup, and they will give you different powers. Like this one, for example, increases your die pool size,
Okay, right.
so you get to draw more dice. This one, whenever you explore, you get to draw an extra tile.
Oh, right. Okay.
So based on the different icons that are here, for example, here once per round you can use an iron resource to count as 3 of the settlement icons.
Oh, right, okay.
So there are a lot of ways to mitigate and be able to use the different technologies, the dice themselves, in order to feel like you have control over the game, even though it's a dice game.
Yep.
But because it's also a dice game, it remains a lighter game because it's something, it's easy for people. They understand the idea of rolling dice, and based on what you rolled, you get to take actions.
Right, okay. Fantastic. That's great. I noticed over the side here we've got some more bags of
Yes.
accessories. What do we...
So these are just the different player colors.
Okay, right, yeah. Okay.
So it will come in 4 different player colors, and also we all of the games that we have coming out also feature solo mode. We realize that there are a lot of people that like, and it's not just something as simple as trying to score a certain number of points. It's where you actually have an AI opponent that you're competing against.
Great. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, there's a lot of particularly with people being so busy now, having a single player option, a solo option, is great when you can sneak in a little bit of time. Fantastic.
That's right.
That's great. So this is going to be out hopefully October, November?
Yes.
And what's the price point we're looking at?
The MSRP is $60 on it.
Okay.
And of course most of that is because of the
the great printing.
The dice, yeah.
Fantastic quality printing here.
So, but also the cardboard, it's nice and sturdy, sturdy quality and good quality components.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's great. And I noticed you brought another game here. We won't do the same layout for this, but if we can just talk a little bit about it.
Sure. Yes. So this is Teotihuacan, which is by Daniela Tashini.
I didn't want to pronounce that one.
Can
you give it one more time?
Teotihuacan.
Okay.
Or City of Gods.
City of Gods. Yes. I'll go with that.
And this game, it's by Daniela Tashini, who has done a lot of design work with a co-designer, Simon Luciani.
Okay.
And they did Solkin, they did Council of 4, and Voyage of Marco Polo and so forth.
Fantastic.
So this one is also coming out in the same
sort of time frame.
Same time frame, and this is it's a spiritual successor to Tzolk'in. So it features that same. It's set in Mesoamerica, and it's set in the first century AD of basically when the city of Teotihuacan was being built.
Okay.
And it features. I can turn over the back of it. It features there's an action rondelle where people will have dice that are workers. Okay. But the value of the dice is not, you never roll the dice. Instead, the value of the die will determine the power of your worker.
Oh, okay.
So and you will move around the board, taking different actions and the different locations. And all of these boards, the main game board will come pre-printed with the locations, but then you have each of the action spaces come as separate tiles. So you can get a random setup depending on how much you would like to change the difficulty and so forth.
Right. Fantastic.
And this one, again, same time frame. This one has an MSRP of $50.
Okay. Great. That's fantastic. So just go back. We first looked at Dice Settlers. Okay. So October, November time, same sort of thing for City of Gods. Yep. And these are both fantastic games from NSKN Games. I think if people want to find you on Facebook or Twitter.
Or Twitter, yep.
Facebook or Twitter, you're at basically at NSKN Games.
Yep.
Or you can head to nskn.net to find out more. And if you want to see these in your stores, make sure your local retailer gets in touch with Alliance and places their order. and look for them October, November.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Raina.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for watching Game Trade Media. Make sure to leave us a like and click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new content.